for the 1627 siege by Buckingham against Toiras. See Siege of St. Martin de Ariecoute. The recovery of Ariecoute Island was accomplished by the army of Louis XIII in September 1625, against the troops of the Protestant admiral Soubise and the Huguenot forces of La Rochelle, who had been occupying the island of Ariecoute since February 1625 as part of the Huguenot rebellions. Background: the Protestants had been resisting the central royal government with the 1620–1622 Protestant rebellion, leading to the naval battle of St. Martin de Ariecoute on 27 October 1622 between the naval forces of La Rochelle and a royal fleet under Charles de Guise. An uneasy peace was made with the Treaty of Montpellier, but frustrations remained on both sides. In February 1625, the Protestant Benjamin de Rohan, Duc de Soubise, led a Huguenot revolt against the French King Louis XIII and, after publishing a manifesto, invaded and occupied the island of Ariecoute. He seized Ariecoute with 300 soldiers and 100 sailors. Further, he sailed up the coast to Brittany, where he led a successful attack on the royal fleet in the Battle of Blavet. Soubise then returned to Ariecoute with 15 ships and soon occupied the Isle d'Oléron as well, thus taking control of the Atlantic coast from Nantes to Bordeaux. Through these deeds, he was recognized as the head of the reform, and named himself admiral of the Protestant Church. The French navy, by contrast, was depleted, leaving the central government very vulnerable. The Huguenot city of La Rochelle voted to join Soubise on 8 August 1625. Encounter and capture of the island. Charles, Duke of Guise, organized a landing in order to recapture the islands, using 20 borrowed Dutch warships as well as 7 English ships under the Duke of Montmorency. Naval Battle of Petit-Breton. The Dutch fleet of 20 warships was supplied under the terms of the 1624 Franco-Dutch Treaty of Compiègne, and was under the command of Admiral Willem Hultain de Zoet. It would be withdrawn from French service in February 1626 after a resolution of the States General in December 1625. The English King Charles I and Duke of Buckingham had negotiated with the French regent, Cardinal Richelieu, for English ships to aid Richelieu in his fight against the French Protestants, in return for French aid against the Spanish occupying the electorate of the Palatinate, an agreement which led to great trouble with the English Parliament, which was horrified by the help given to France against the Huguenots. 7 English ships were delivered by Captain Pennington after many misgivings, and were employed in the conflict, although they were essentially manned by French crews, as most of the English crews had refused to serve against their co-religionaries and had disembarked in Jet. The English ships duly saw action against La Rochelle. However, on 16 July 1625, Soubise managed to blow up the Dutch ship under Vice Admiral Van Dorp, with a loss of 300 Dutch sailors. Naval Battle of St. Martin de Ariecoute and landing in September 1625. Montmorency led his large fleet out of Les Sables d'Olonne, and finally defeated the fleet of La Rochelle, commanded by Jean Guiton and Soubise, in front of St. Martin de Ariecoute on 18 September 1625. 2 elite regiments of royal troops under Toiras were landed on the island, defeating Soubise with his 3,000 men. The island of Ariecoute was invested, forcing Soubise to flee to England with his few remaining ships. Montmorency thus managed to recover both Isle d'Ariecoute and Isle d'Oléron. Aftermath. After long negotiations, a peace agreement, the Treaty of Paris, was finally signed between the city of La Rochelle and King Louis XIII on 5 February 1626, preserving religious freedom but imposing some guarantees against possible future upheavals. La Rochelle was prohibited from keeping a war fleet and had to destroy a fort in Tasden. The contentious Fort Louis under royal control near the western gate of the city was supposed to be destroyed in reasonable time. The French officer Toiras was named as governor of the island, and he started to reinforce fortifications in view of future attacks, especially at the Fort de la Pierre-Écoute and Saint Martin de Écoute. An English offensive to capture the island would again take place in 1627 to support the siege of La Rochelle, leading to the second siege of Saint Martin de Écoute led by the Duke of Buckingham against Toiras. The conflict clearly showed the dependence of France on foreign navies. This led Richelieu to launch ambitious plans for a national fleet.